Welcome to episode 78 of the Sports Marketing Machine podcast, the podcast to help those working in sports level up their marketing so they can sell more tickets, sell more merchandise, and grow your fan base. I'm your host, Jeremy Neiser. If this is your first episode, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, and hopefully you find this information that I share with you extremely valuable, and hopefully you can sell more tickets. So if you're like most teams, before the season, you set your goals, your budgets, your marketing plan, and as the season progresses, you may make some tweaks with your budget and the strategy that you had based on if things are working or not. This campaign's not working with this specific platform. Let's allocate the money to this specific platform. Oh, we're doing this happened. Oh, this was actually getting a lot of momentum here. Let's allocate there, right? So this is totally normal. All of that works exactly correct how you should be doing it, and that's how other teams are doing it, honestly. What happens if nothing is working? Literally nothing. So all of what you're doing, nothing is working. So that's the issue with one team this year that I've been working with. Halfway through the year, they had spent a little over $50,000 on billboards, radio, social ads, and their single game ticket sales were minimal. We're talking less than 100 per game. Yeah, it was definitely one of those, oh man, this is a bummer. We are swinging and missing. Nothing's working. We spent a lot of money on all these things and nothing is converting. After we dug into their strategy and processes, a few things became apparent. And hopefully one of these three things are light bulb moments for you. Number one, they prioritized single game ticket sales over everything else, including season ticket sales and group sales. They said, you know what, we're going to spend all of our marketing budget, time, energy, everything that we're going to do is to try to sell single game tickets. And they completely forgot about season tickets and group sales. This is a no-brainer for a lot of us, but for this team specifically, that's what their plan was. Number two, they allocated the majority of their marketing budget for awareness activities and less of a focus on collecting email addresses. So a lot of the things I just said, billboards and radio and social ads, some of those are designed just to get awareness, just to get some eyeballs on some things, but they spend the majority of that $50,000 on those activities, and they were not collecting email addresses because that's the easiest and highest ROI for you to be able to sell single game tickets. Number three, they didn't have goals set for their major promotions. They had several major promotions, great giveaways, fireworks, and what have you, but there was not a concerted effort to focus on selling these games out. The idea of making good games great, that's what the focus was, and they didn't have it. Episode 75, few episodes ago, I sat down with Emmanuel from Spinzo's group sales platform. We were talking about how things have evolved over the last few years, and I'll put a link in the show notes to it. One takeaway that he said, which really rang true when I was working with this team, is that group sales has become the fixer for some teams. It used to be season tickets were huge because you get a great base of season ticket holders, you sell some mini plans, and now you're averaging a certain amount of fans per game. You sell some groups and sell some single game tickets on top of it, but it's great. But what if you didn't have a lot of season ticket holders? Going out there and selling blocks of 50, 100, 200 tickets to a game and collecting as many emails as possible from the groups gives you a better chance to be successful today and in the future. So Emmanuel's thought and feedback about groups, how they're the fixer, he's 100% correct. And this is actually the situation here for a team where you put groups in front of season tickets and mini plans and even single game tickets because you got to get some momentum here. So that's exactly what we did. We redirected their efforts to sell more group tickets, and they have started to see some momentum. They started to sell 50s and 25s and youth teams and swim clubs and all these different groups. They started to get some momentum that way. So before we get to today's takeaways, if you're finding this episode helpful, please take a moment and share a positive rating or review on your favorite listening platform. It would mean the world to me, but more importantly, it would get this podcast in front of people just like you working in sports, trying to get more people to your games. So here's our takeaways from what we were just talking about. When you are planning your promotional calendar and you're starting to focus on your marketing, make sure everyone is aligned on what games we want to be very intentional about selling tickets to or selling out. So putting a maximum amount of effort on these specific games. We're not forgetting about the other ones, but when we're calling someone trying to sell a group ticket, we're focusing on these specific games. When you do that, you build some momentum and you collect some email addresses. Let's say you've got those 5 games and they're doing great. You collect a bunch of email addresses. Now you can get these people to see if you can turn them around to come back to another game. When you do that, you start to build some momentum. It's like that snowball rolling down the hill, but you got to get that going, and groups for them is really going to be the way to be able to see that. Takeaway number 2, make sure you have a concerted effort to collect as many emails as possible. That is your fastest and most affordable, highest return on investment way, collecting email addresses, putting them in an email software, and selling tickets that way, 100%. Number 3, groups can be a fixer for teams, and for this one specifically, it will be. In fact, let me give you an example. When I was working in Birmingham with the Birmingham Barons many years ago, our group sales, that was the strategy. We were going to be successful through group sales. There was 6 of us selling group ticket sales, barbecues and youth teams and all of the different group opportunities that we had. We focused on selling as many group tickets to our big games as possible. By the end of the year, we had several sellouts, and it was mainly due to the focus on these specific games and our groups. So give your ticket sales team the opportunity to hit their goals this year by changing your focus and saying, hey, how do we get more groups to these specific games, and giving them the opportunity? So if you've got some questions, need some help on this one, just need someone to pick a brain, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help. Head over to sportsmarketingmachine.com and schedule a call. Until next time.